Ladies and gentlemen, this is the man, this is exceptional man. 400 combat mission. This is unheard of by SEAL standard. 2 silver stars, 4 bronze stars, all for valor. A man who killed Osama bin Laden, Rob O'Neill.
Thank you so much. I'll tell you what, I gotta be honest, watching that video, I've been crying for the past 2 hours. Hearing the story, seeing what happens, and then Drago shows that video, and it reminds me of the thing where people said, do you miss it? And all I say is, you know what, I don't miss the circus, but I do miss the clowns. But to hear my best friend Drago explain, he was a legend before I got to SEAL Team 2. We met there, and Drago was just a guy. And becoming a Navy SEAL was the least exciting thing he ever did. No, I'm serious. Grew up in Poland, political prisoner, kickboxing champion. His English actually got worse. What was funny is that we're doing I think our second platoon, deployment together, and one of our new guys came in. His name was Tucker, and he said, "I said, hey, here's the thing, man. Look, don't talk shit to the older guys, but certainly there's things you just don't say to Drago." And I mentioned he's from Poland, and Tucker said to Drago, he said, "What, are you a communist?" And Drago threw a kick to the head so fast, and it knocked him out, and he's down there, and when he woke up, I said, "That's what I'm fucking talking about." Yeah. I've never seen a grown man kick another grown man in the head. At least not when he's standing up. So, anyway, so what I want to do tonight, I want to thank Charlie and Marianne for bringing us here, Michael, for everyone that has brought us here. There's nothing more sacred than Gold Star families. We did what we did on May 1st and 2nd, 2011 to kill bin Laden for surviving family members, first responders, 9/11. And I've had people tell me there's never closure, but there is healing. And I think that's the case, and that's part of the reason I came out with the story. I'm going to share that story with you in a second. But what I want to talk about now, because like I mentioned, I'm not afraid to cry. I love crying. I think it heals, and it brings stuff out. But what I want to do right now is kind of motivate everybody, because everyone that's died for this country, every Marine, every airman, every sailor, every soldier, they didn't die afraid. They died with their brothers and sisters. They died fighting this enemy. They died knowing they're protecting their brother's back. That's what they were doing. It's not like they were surrounded in their scary place watching a scary movie. They're taking it to the enemy. And they died doing what they're doing. They didn't die alone. They died together. So I'm going to share just a few stories about, we talked about Fallujah tonight. The Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is so goddamn good. They didn't just take Fallujah once, they took it twice. I actually became a Navy SEAL. I joined the Navy on accident because I tried to join the Marine Corps. I got dumped by a girl and tried to join the Marine Corps. This is no kidding. The first sentence in my book is, I owe my career as a Navy SEAL to a girl. Because I got dumped, and the quickest way out of town is to leave with the Marine Corps. So I went to join the Marine Corps, and I learned very early on that sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good, because as luck would have it, the Marine recruiter was not in the office, but the Navy guy was. And the only reason I went to talk to the Navy guy is because I had 2 friends that were Marines, Mike and Ben, with whom I'd grown up, and they told me something I didn't know. They said the Marine Corps is actually part of the Department of the Navy. It's just a men's department. So anyway, long story short, so we did that, and I became a Navy SEAL. But I'm not going to get into it. I'm going to talk about some of the things that we did, how we fought, why we did what we did, meeting Drago with SEAL Team 2, and to hear him say he looked up to me. He was my mentor. He was the guy we've done so much together. He's the world to me. This is. I put out on Twitter today. I said I'm having a dinner tonight with Drago. And someone responded with, "Who's Drago?" And one of my Twitter followers said, "Oh, he's the terrorist terrorizer." Trust me. But because we're all here, because we're family, we're friends, all this stuff. And my father Tom is here, my sister Chrissy's here. I actually, my father's kind of pissed at me because we were having a conversation and I said, "Oh my God, Chrissy, thank God, you're the only one who actually works for a living." And my dad goes, "What the fuck, dude?" But the reason I bring that up is because of family, because of Gold Star families, because it's so much easier to go to combat than to send a loved one to combat. Because when we're there, we have the decision. I can go this way, I can go that way, I can jump down here. But when you send a loved one, there's nothing you can do and you're always assuming the worst. Prime example, I've been fortunate or lucky or unlucky to have been part of a lot of the most high-profile missions. My team and I rescued the lone survivor, Marcus Luttrell. My team and I rescued Captain Richard Phillips. My team and I killed Osama bin Laden. Walked off and we tried to rescue him 19 different times. We were so close to getting him that I actually had the ransom money in my hands. And the guy messed up, but we're trying to get him. I've actually had friends of mine in the Army. I love Green Berets, nothing but love for Army. They actually said, "You're kind of like the Forrest Gump of Naval Special Warfare, only you're not as good looking and you can't run as fast." So the first mission that I was on at SEAL Team 6 was to go after Luttrell, lone survivor. And the way that worked out, I have a thing called a sympathetic post-traumatic stress, where you're not there, but you feel it. The families, believe me, like I was saying earlier, they feel it harder than we do. We were on the base when they sent 4 snipers. If you're not familiar with lone survivor, they sent 4 snipers into the Korengal Valley, which is pretty much the most dangerous place in the world. They were ambushed, overrun. We sent 2 helicopters in to get them. They shot one down. Turbine 3-3 was the call sign. Killed all 20 Americans on board. And then we needed to go find the crash site. We were missing 2 snipers, Marcus Luttrell and Matt Axelson. We knew that Murphy and Danny were dead. But we're going to go up, but they said they're not going to fly us. We got to walk. So here's what's cool about the USA. And I've talked to Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, all day tonight, all night tonight. When they told us they weren't going to fly us in because it's too dangerous, we need to find a coalition. We walked into these huts where people were staying in Jalalabad airfield, and I remember walking into a Rangers hut, and I said, "Hey, there's 20 Rangers sleeping." I said, "Hey guys, here's the situation, blah, blah, blah. I need like 5 guys because we got to go." All 20 guys hopped out of their bunks, and they said, "Hey, we should be ready in 10 minutes. All 20 of us will be outside in 5. And they got out, and these are 20-year-old kids. Wow. Rangers lead the way, no shit. And we found Marines, we found Air Force guys, we stole vehicles and we drove up there. So I'm talking about the families, bear with me. So we're driving up there as far as we could. We actually put our gear onto mules that there's a 3-letter agency, it rhymes with CIA. And they got us these donkeys, and now we're walking up, all our stuff strapped, and we're walking up there. So we're 10 hours into this walk. We ended up staying awake for 3.5 days trying to find Marcus. But we got 10 hours into it. It's probably about 125 degrees Fahrenheit. We're up there. We sat down. We were seriously sticking IVs in each other because we all sort of know how because it's so hot. And I looked at one of my friends and said, "Shit, did anybody call home before we?" And they're like, "No, why?" I'm like, "All they know is a bunch of Navy SEALs from Virginia Beach are dead. They haven't heard from us." Right? Now, so I was married at the time. My wife was with my 1-year-old daughter. This poor girl, by the way, was 1-year-old when we rescued Luttrell, 4 when we rescued Phillips, and then 7 when we killed bin Laden. So she's at our friend Aaron Taylor's house. And Aaron had just become a widow because her husband, JT, Jeff Taylor, was on the helicopter, 7 months married. He was on the helicopter. He's dead. So she's not consolable, and my wife is holding my daughter, and she can't console her, but she can't go home because the Navy's going to be there when I get there. She doesn't want to hear that. She finally had to go home because my daughter's not consoled. They finally get back home. The Navy's obviously not there. And my daughter dropped a bib in the front yard as they're walking in. She didn't notice. So she walked in, opened the door, closed the door, locked it, and she's pacing around with my kid. The problem was my neighbor, Ron, he saw her drop the bib. So he's being a neighbor. He grabbed the bib, he walked to the front door, and he rang the doorbell. Now here's the problem. I work with Ron at SEAL Team 6. He's in his dress blues. So my wife looks out, sees Ron, sets my 1-year-old daughter down in the corner because she can't even sit up yet. And she said, I took the 7 hardest steps of my life to that door. She opened the door, and my neighbor Ron finishes his story off well. He goes, yeah, it was weird. The door opened. I said, you dropped this. She punched me in the fucking face and closed the door. The point I'm making is that the families go through a lot. So I'm going to keep this short. So I mentioned my daughter who was 1. She was 4. And here's the kind of stuff, what Drago was explaining what military families go through and how everything happens. It was Good Friday, April 10th, 2009, my birthday. And I was with my same daughter, 4 years old, Easter tea party at her preschool. And we thought it would be cute to put the kids in the middle of the room, and the parents would go through this buffet line that we had set up. So, you know, I'm on my off time. I have a pink plate in my hand. I have Army, Navy, and Marine Corps parents next to me. And we thought it would be cute to get them treats, you know. So when we're going to feed them. So, like, I'm walking through and I'm putting, like, smiley face cupcakes and cookies and, like, shit that 4-year-olds eat on this thing. And I'm walking back over and I got a message. And what happened is a guy by the name of Captain Richard Phillips was taken by Somali pirates. And they called us to go get him now. So you put the plate down, I look my daughter in the eyes, I give her a kiss and go to work. From a preschool classroom on my birthday in Virginia Beach. And that's the hardest part of combat right there, by the way. The hardest part of combat is not getting shot at. That's easy. It's kissing your kid goodbye. Looking him in the eyes, we're both aware this could be it. This could be the last. And then there's a huge difference between kissing your kid goodnight and kissing your kid goodbye. You know, she's about to turn 14. We're getting old, aren't we, brother? In her lifetime, I've kissed her goodbye 11 times. We're very lucky we don't do that anymore. But let me fast forward before I start telling too many stories. The hardest one that we ever did wasn't when she was 4 for Captain Phillips. It's when she was 7 for Bin Laden. Because that was a one-way mission. And we accepted death. We're going to die on this mission. Wow. We're going to get shot down on the way in. If anyone's going to blow himself up and his family up to kill us all, and we're going to run out of fuel. And 23 Navy SEALs are going to be on the ground in Pakistan, and our short lives will be finished in a Pakistan prison. We were so convinced that we were going to die that right before we left, the point man who actually led me up the stairs, and I turned right and went into Bin Laden's bedroom, he pulled me aside and said, don't take this the wrong way, because I'm going. I'm going. But I have to say it out loud, just to hear it. If we know we're going to die, why are we going? Which is fair. So he and I had a conversation, and we're talking about Bin Laden, and he said, what we decided was, we're not going for fame. We're not going after Bin Laden for money. We're not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper in New York City because that was a better alternative than what was going on inside. And her last gesture of human decency was to hold her skirt down so no one could see her underwear as she killed herself. She didn't want to do that. She didn't want to do any of those things. She's not supposed to be in the fight. We are in the fight. That's why we're fucking going. Amen. We had about a day home with our kids, and I was writing letters to my daughters. And so the daughter I'm talking about, she was 7 at the time, but I did not write a letter to the 7-year-old. I wrote a letter to the 27-year-old. And I remember saying, I'm really sorry that I missed your wedding. I know you were beautiful. Thank you for taking care of your sister and your mom. What we did was noble. You know, tears hitting the page. It's not even fun to think about. And then I went to the mall, and I don't know what you buy for a 7-year-old or 4-year-old sister to two kids, for daddy's never coming home, but I had this stuff, and I'm walking out of the mall, and we weren't, trust me, we're Navy SEALs, we weren't scared, we were focused. So I'm leaving the mall. I wasn't too focused because I bumped into this kiosk leaving the mall, which is like one of those sunglass huts. And I look down, and there's a pair of Prada sunglasses on sale for $240. And I look down, I'm like, you know what, goddamn it, I'm a chief in the Navy. I can't afford these. But I am going to be dead next week. And American Express can afford these, right? So I bought these sunglasses, and I'm wearing them around town, but then I start thinking, there's never a perfect plan. What if we do live through the night in Bin Laden's house? What if we need to steal a car? We don't have to do that. I'm going to steal a car, drive to the embassy in Islamabad 4 hours away. If it comes to that, the sun's going to be up. I'm going to need sunglasses. I carried a pair of Prada sunglasses in my pocket the night I went into Osama bin Laden's bedroom, and I wasn't thinking about them at the time because I had a lot of shit going on. But we got home from a mission where we weren't supposed to live, and we're showering up, we're excited to get us to our kids, and I reached down and I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. Then I start thinking, I'm not going to be in the Navy forever. I'm going to need a job when I get out. Maybe I'll get into marketing. This could work. Picture a billboard with a special operator with short sleeves, tattoos, muscles, a gun, and sunglasses. And all it says is, if you only have 1 day left to live, you might as well wear Prada. So when she's 4 years old, I kissed her goodbye in her classroom. Let me tell you how awesome this military is. I always tell people what I love about the military is the best Air Force in the world is the U.S. Air Force. The second best Air Force in the world is the U.S. Navy. Like, we're good. Anyway, after I got that page, 14 hours and 46 minutes after I got it in my daughter's classroom, we had 103 Navy SEALs in the Indian Ocean. A day and a half later, on Easter Sunday, we rescued Richard Phillips with some shots from our amazing snipers. And we were able to do that because we were prepared. Think about how awesome these snipers were. We didn't go in there to kill those guys. We went to get the hostage. We simply put those snipers down, watched them, make sure nothing unsafe happens. Something very unsafe happened as we were preparing for the rescue, and they took the shots. Now, wrap your minds around this. 4 days prior, those 3 snipers were in their own beds in Virginia Beach. Their guns did not need to be sighted in for the most difficult shots of their lives. But their guns were sighted in for the most difficult shots of their lives because they were prepared. So, we're doing all that stuff, and all of a sudden we get a call to go, I'm going to go forward to the Bin Laden raid. So we get called to do that, and again, talking about how awesome this country is. I'm all about America. It was women that found Bin Laden. Did you know that? A group of women. Absolutely. Love it. And I'm going to get to the point. So we got called in. I'm not going to get into the details of how we found them. It is stuff like what Michael Strange used to do. There are smarter people than us behind the scenes that find the guys. Michael Strange was on Extortion 17 because he found the guys and they're going to go get them. We have guys that actually have brains. Guys like Drago and me, we're just capable to carry the gun and the sledgehammer. Smart guys are behind us, smart men and women behind us. So we went in to get Osama bin Laden, and that was one of those things too where you need to sit down with your kids and take them to a going away meal. I'm never going to see you again, but I can't tell you. I'm going to watch you play in the playpen with my daughters at Chick-fil-A, it turned out. Call my father right before I left. He doesn't even know I'm in Afghanistan. We're going to go to Pakistan. So I'm going to make it short and sweet. So we flew in there. The guys were so focused. The guys were so professional with whom we were. The only people more professional on the helicopters were the pilots. Army pilots are the best in the world. So we're flying in, and we had a 90-minute flight to get in. And we knew we could get shot down at any time. We could die right now. But we're smart enough to realize I don't need to worry about that right now. Worrying about it's not going to help. That's just taking too much. We might die. Calm down. I looked around. Some of my guys were actually falling asleep. Some guys put in their earbuds and were listening to music. I was counting. I learned as a sniper in Kosovo. We were there together. That if you just count. 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 0. 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 0. So we're 80 minutes into a 90-minute flight. We banked to the south, and I don't know why this happened, but all of a sudden, as I'm counting, I heard George Bush's quote from September 11, 2001, when he addressed the world. I was counting 556, 557, 558. Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. Amen. I started again, how did I remember that? Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. I'm like, screw counting, I'm going to say that. And then I'm like, holy shit, we're on this mission, and we're going to kill him. So we get into this thing, and the point that I was making earlier is there's never a perfect plan. Let me back up. We were a week and a half into planning this mission. We had the perfect plan. We rehearsed the perfect plan. We're going to fast rope here, put guys here, snipers there, dogs, all this stuff. A week and a half into it, one of the tired bosses said, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen? The youngest guy in the room said, well, the helicopter crashed in the front yard. And we all said, what the fuck was that? The worst thing imaginable happened, and we were able to take that catastrophic event and turn it into something great because we were prepared, not because of the perfect plan, which never works. So we kind of get into the thing. I was in the helicopter that didn't crash, but we didn't know they crashed. We thought what they were, because the helicopters were called Dash 1, Dash 2, and what they started saying was Dash 1 going around, Dash 1 going around, and we assumed they meant going around. Racetrack, because we're taking fire. What they were saying was Dash 1 going down. So we didn't know that. We tried to reach a door, blew it, didn't work. We went to the carport, the main door. We said, hey, we're going to blow this door. And they said, no, we're just going to open it. The door opened, the thumb comes out. And it's one of those situations where I don't care why you got there, you're there. We'll talk about it later. So we go in. I'm looking up to the left. We're going through what's called a carport, like a driveway. Looking at Bin Laden's house, and I remember thinking, I know we're going to die tonight, but I'm going to absorb this. This is too cool. We're kind of walking in. Other guys are in a gunfight. We get into the hallway of the main house of Bin Laden's place, and the guys that had crashed, they'd already killed 3 terrorists. They're in this room, and I back in there, and we never talk to each other. And you never stand in a hallway, because they'll shoot down the hallway. We're standing there, and the guy next to me goes, yeah, man, helicopter crashed. And I said, what helicopter crashed? And I'm thinking some of the big ones that were coming in behind us, because we had redundancy. I thought we just lost more of our guys, and he goes, bro, our helicopter crashed in the front yard. Like you walked right past it. So I'm trying to make this work. As we're talking about this, one of our snipers had the dog, and they're running around the entire compound to secure the perimeter. He got to a spot, that famous spot where the tail was over the fence that we blew up in Pakistan, our allies sold to China. He got to that spot, and he didn't realize it either, and he said, all right, guys, be alert. They are ready for us. They have a training mock-up of our super secret helicopter in the front yard. And there was a pause, and you could hear the ground force commander go, no, you jackass, that's ours. We crashed. And he said, yeah, that makes a lot more sense than the shit that I was just saying. And so we're kind of like, what shit are we talking about? So we end up clearing this hallway. We're going down there. And I remember being in a house where we're going to die. This house is going to blow up at any time. But being so proud of my guys. Because the breachers, just slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Nothing's bothering, mechanical, explosive. And I'm watching it. And I have, because of where we crashed, I have a front row seat to the greatest mission in modern history. I'm watching them work, totally proud. Don't even care if we blow up. I'm so honored to be here. They breached the door, and we went up to a stairwell. And the stairwell worked like this. It went this way, and it went that way. And there's a banister right here. Now, the woman that found Bin Laden said, I don't know what the house looks like inside, but you will run into a stairwell. When you do, between the first and second floor, you will run into Khalid Bin Laden. He will be armed. It's his 20-year-old son. That is his last line of defense. You eliminate him. And here's how cool she was. She said, you got a shot at the big guy. So we're walking in there. Now, I'm like 8 guys back, and we're going up that stairwell. We saw Khalid. He was armed, and he jumped behind this banister. Now, the point man was right there. Stair going this way, stair going that way, and a banister. So there's 10 inches separating 2 guys that want to murder each other, both armed with machine guns. Now, we've been in gunfights in Iraq, and normally what I would do is I'd grab a few guys and pull them out of the hallway, because if a grenade comes over, we only lose a few. But I remember thinking, I'm going to die anyway, I got to watch this shit. So we're standing there, quiet, it's dark, And all of a sudden, the point man, here's how smart these guys are, because he knew the woman, Maya, told him. He went, Khalid, Irfai Dad, Khalid, Delta Russia. He said, Khalid, come here, Khalid, come here. 2 different languages. Confused him. Khalid seriously went, what? So I remember taking a tactical pause and thinking, that's the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. So we step over Khalid's body. We go up there, and the point man stayed the point man from the, so we're on the 2nd floor, and the stairs went up to the 3rd floor. Everyone else in front of me split off, because they needed to take down the unknowns. Because you want to clear everything before you go up. So now I'm what's called the number 2 man, and the way it works is the 1 man always looks forward, and the 2 man has control by his shoulder or his leg, because he's like the eyes in the back. Oh, I'm going to make sure we don't leave until we're ready to. You look up and I'll do this. We only had 2 of us. He's looking up this thing, and there's a curtain behind the stairwell. And we can see people moving. And we're not talking. And all of a sudden, the point man said, hey man, we got to go. Hey man, we got to go. We got to get up here. He's talking to me. He doesn't know it's me, but he knows one of his guys. And he's trying to convince us we got to get up there because they're putting their suicide vests on. We got to get them before they get them on, because we're going to die up there. Let's try to, whatever. And I'm holding him. And there's humor in everything, believe it or not. And the point man finally said, hey man, these bitches is getting truculent. So I laughed and I said, I don't think that word means what you think it means. But then I took a deep breath. And I don't know how he was feeling, but I know how I was feeling. And it was by no means bravery. It was, let's get it over with. He's going to blow us up. I squeezed him. He went up the stairs. He pulled the curtain aside. There was 3 individuals there. He jumped on them. It turned out to be women, but he jumped on them like a guy jumping on a grenade. Like this guy, how he doesn't have a Medal of Honor yet, I have no idea. But he jumped on them, and I remember, and the way the tactics were, he went this way, so I went that way. And all I was thinking about was, I can't believe how brave he was. And as I turned, here's Osama bin Laden, 3 feet away. So he's standing there with his hands on his shoulder, on his wife's shoulder. He's pushing her at me, and the way it went, less than a second, was he's taller than I thought, he's skinnier than I thought, his beard is short, it's white. That's his nose, though. He's a threat. He's not surrendering. Take him out. So I shot him twice, shot him again. He went down. I pulled his wife away, and as I was walking over to because I killed him at the foot of his bed, and I'm putting his wife on the bed, and his 2-year-old son was standing there staring up. And I remember as a father, as one of the good guys, thinking, this poor kid, he's got nothing to do with this. I picked him up, put him next to his mom, and then other Navy SEALs are coming in, and then somebody hit me, and I'm standing there. And one of my buddies came up to me, and he goes, hey man, you good? I have my gun, and I go, yeah, what are we supposed to do now? And he said, well, we find the computers. We do this every night, hundreds of times. I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm back. Holy shit. He goes, yeah, you just killed Osama bin Laden. Your life just changed something. So we found this stuff. We were supposed to have 34 minutes on target. We ended up having 47 minutes on target because we found everything they were doing. He was running that place, Al-Qaeda. We ended up killing. So we killed 4 of the top 5 terrorists in the world that night. We killed number 3 the following day. But we got back, and now no, I'm sorry, let me back up. So we get in the helicopters, they're going to take us back, and we split up the DNA, put his body on this one, put us, and DNA on this one, and we're flying back. Now we're in a helicopter on a mission we're not supposed to live, and we have 90 minutes. If we get 90 minutes and live, cross the border to Afghanistan, we get 50 years of life. We get to see our family again, our kids again. And I'm not a pilot, but our guy flying that Chinook was doing whatever the pilot version of this is. So we're hauling ass, and it's a 90-minute flight, and we all start our watches. And so we're kind of watching them, but no one's saying a word. We're in the helicopter, we're counting. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40. And we kind of look around, it's like watching a no-hitter being pitched at Yankee Stadium. It's like, hey, top of the 6th, I'm not saying anything. 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes. Then it turns into more of a, when the Americans beat the Russians in hockey, 1980 at Lake Placid. At the end of it, we could hear the crowd counting down, 10, 9, 8. We could still fuck this off, right? So we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, the pilot, 85 minutes into a 90-minute flight, the pilot came over and said, all right, gentlemen, for the first time in your lives, you're going to be happy to hear this. Welcome to Afghanistan. So we land, they got back, we got back. I talked to the point man and I actually, because this is a huge thing, he and I talked to each other, and he's like, oh, there she is. There's the woman that found Bin Laden. You got to give her something, man. You own this. I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay, so we walked over there. I pulled the magazine out, jacked the last round out, put it in the magazine, and walked up to the girl that found Bin Laden and said, hey, do you have room for this in your backpack? And she went, yeah. Then, now, have you seen Zero Dark 30? Good movie. Not great. Good. The reason I don't like it is because of the ending. It sucks. Some Navy SEALs show the woman that found Bin Laden's body, and then she cries and fucks off or whatever. What actually happened, she was way too tough for that. I don't think she cried when she was a baby. Probably the toughest woman I've ever met. The point man and I walked her over to Bin Laden's body. I just gave her the magazine. We're walking over, and as we're walking over, I started thinking to myself, oh my God, this is historic. This is Frozen Chosen. This is Iwo Jima. This is Normandy. This is General Washington crossing the Delaware to fight the Hessians, revolutionary. Oh my God, what do I say to her? I don't want to sound like a weird. So anyway, I got to say something cool. This woman sacrificed her life to find Osama bin Laden. No kids, no parent, no husband, no family. She worked to find him. I got to think of something cool to say. So we walk over, we look down, and all I said was, is that your guy? She looked down for a second and a half, and all she said was, I guess I'm out of a fucking job. So that's cool. Anyway, so I'm going to conclude with this, though, because I brought up my poor daughter who's been involved with every single thing that we did. She was funny. When we got back home, we're sitting on the couch, and I'm trying to absorb what happened with Bin Laden. There's a lot to handle. And we're sitting there. She's here. I'm here, and like my big glass of scotch or whatever is here. And Bin Laden's all over the TV. She's like, Daddy, that's Osama bin Laden. I said, no. Don't you ever say that name again. That is cursed. You will not be associated with this. It's dangerous. Don't ever think that. And she couldn't think why she's getting yelled at 7-year-olds. And then his picture came up again. She goes, Daddy, look, it's Poopy Face. So a year to the day, I'm going to finish with this one. A year to the day. So this is May 2nd, 2012. We're at a water park. We're getting dressed to go swim. And we were watching a cable news station. And they said, hey, so she's getting dressed, I'm getting dressed, we're getting ready to go swim. They said, hey, it's the 1-year anniversary of the death of Osama bin Laden. So really quickly, we are taking viewer email. The best story of where you were when you found out bin Laden was killed, send it to us and we'll put you on television. And she immediately said, oh my God, Dad, you got to email them. Tell them you were in his bed.